Please rise. Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We welcome everybody to the York County Board of Commissioners meeting. Last one for November and only two more yet this year. Roll call, please.
Rhodes.
Present.
Bear.
Present.
Ziegler.
Present.
Sykes.
Present.
And Obermeyer.
Here, open meetings law is posted on the south side of our chambers, is in the hallway outside of our chambers, it is also on our website. Proof of publication was in the York News Times November 24th, again also on our website. Next up, we need to review and approve the minutes of our November 14th Board of Commissioner meeting.
Move to approve.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Roll call?
Rhodes.
Yes.
Sykes.
Yes.
Ziegler.
Yes.
Bear.
Yes.
And Obermeyer.
Yes, and adopt today's agenda.
Motion to approve the agenda for today.
Thank you, Jack.
Second.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Sykes.
Yes.
Bear.
Yes.
Rhodes.
Yes.
Ziegler.
Yes.
Obermeyer.
Yes. Officials forum. Morning, Lori.
Good morning. After attending the last safety and security meeting, we were discussing the parking lot at our office. And it was suggested that I come here to the officials forum and make the suggestion that this board consider purchasing the extra lot to the south of us. It is owned by Lucille Bondegard. There's 3 lots. 2 of the lots have the building on it, and then there's 1 lot that sits between the building and our office. And so and actually one of her sons, and I don't remember which of the sons talked to me, but one of the sons said that she would probably be more than amenable to selling this lot for the purpose of putting parking there so that we would have enough parking for not only our customers, but our staff to avoid parking in the more hazardous area on the incline with the rock in the wintertime with ice on it is pretty. We've had a couple of falls and 1 lengthy injury due to falling in that area. But the thought is that maybe we could purchase that extra lot and use that to extend our parking, because our parking, the land actually is, it looks like it's more belongs to us than actually does. There's only about 2 feet past the cement that actually belongs to us, and we're watering about 6 feet. So we don't own as much as we think we do. But so I wanted to just put a bug in your ear to think about that as an option so that we might have better parking in that area.
Thank you, Lori.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning, Howard.
Harv Time, Highway Superintendent. I thought I'd be official today. Don't have a whole lot to say other than we've been hauling gravel and rock in, or hauling gravel in, rock is coming in, trying to blade and maintain the roads, trying to get a little gravel on some of the thin spots that are going to be a problem come spring if we don't. 4th Street has come along. Hopefully by the end of the week we have that done. As of yesterday, it was looking really well. So anyhow, that's about all I have.
Is that probably the end of our projects then, I would
Yes.
assume, prior to winter?
Then we will go to routine maintenance stuff.
And after the last meeting with the fence, Harv, you contacted obviously the winning, and did they give you any timeline
Middle
whatsoever?
of December is what they are talking.
They might be showing up.
So hopefully in about 3 weeks probably that they could be there is what they was hoping for.
And we had a little prep work or stuff to do
Yes,
prior
we
to
still
them
have
getting
some
there.
Stuff to do, but we have gained on it. The trees are out of the way. The fence line on the east is out of the way. I got 1 pole that broke off that there's a chunk of concrete in the ground. And if I don't remove that, you know that's where they're gonna have to try to put a post. So I'm gonna get that out and then dig a ditch around there so the water will drain around it instead of through the property.
Okay, sounds good. Look forward to that. Anybody else have any questions for Harv this morning?
The fence project's gonna have concrete, or they gonna have trouble with freezing and pouring concrete underneath that fence line?
The poles are in concrete,
Okay, not underneath the fence
not
line.
underneath the whole fence line, no. My thought was to put a rock base underneath it or a rock runner around there so we could spray, keep the weeds and grass out of the fence line, is what I was planning to do with that.
Thank you.
Well, Harvey, since Lori brought up Bondigards, Rocky Bondigard built that house on the end of East Node Road,
Yes,
West Node Road.
yes.
And I was surprised when they sprayed the spray on lawn to get started. It actually is coming up. But the ditch line behind them blocking the water from draining from there. Is that why you cleaned that ditch out? You think that'll take care of that problem?
It will flow that way.
It will flow that direction?
Yes, it will.
Okay, good job.
Thanks, Harv.
You bet.
Any other officials this morning? Seeing none, public is welcome to come forward at this point in time and speak if they would like to. Good morning.
Good morning, good to be here again. Jim Jackson, 907 Road 2, Fairmont, 8th Township. I've come here this morning to comment on where the roads that I drive the most. I go to Leston probably. Everybody been to Leston? Anyway, I go there 5-6 times a week, because Warren goes there to respite care, go to church there. And during harvest, I might go that many times a day. Anyway, Dorchester's made quite an investment in Leston. They put up 4 250,000 bushel bins, 2 15,000 bushel legs. I don't know what the pit's over, 1,000 or more. And a new building, and most of the other stuff is gone. Anyway, back to my problem, thank you. Lushton Road, where it comes off of Road G, about half a mile north of Road 2, isn't very wide. And several years ago, the north side of that, when you turn left there, the north side of that intersection kind of got screwed up a little bit. They cut it off or something. But anyway, now with everybody that's got a semi, except me and one of the neighbors with tail draggers yet, when you come around that corner, the semi's hook on that low spot anyway, that was a bad intersection. And this fall, one of my neighbors, you gotta be on the stick, you gotta turn not too late and not too quick, you don't wanna drop and it goes off. And anyway, he didn't make it, he dumped a load of beans there. Well, see Hans Hubert one day, and I said something to him about it. And he said, well, Harvey said we're gonna fix that. They did. They put rock on there, a lot of rock. It's a lot better now, and then the street where you turn into Lushton, same problem, and they put rock there too. So I'd like to compliment Harvey and Hans and Max for what the work they do on our roads. But I do reserve one thing. If I have a problem, I'm gonna have my wife call Harvey. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. Anybody else from the public this morning? Okay, seeing none, we'll go down the agenda. We do have a reason for an executive session, but we will hold on to that till a little bit later in the meeting. There is no general assistance, so next up will be vendor and payroll. Anybody have any questions? No additions? fairly light, which is a good thing.
Make a motion that we approve payroll and vendor claims.
Thank you, Daniel.
Second?
Thank you. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Rhodes,
Yes.
Ziegler,
Yes.
Sykes,
Yes.
Bear,
Yes.
and Overman.
Yes. Okay, next up, we need to do a couple of budget transfers. I had sent that, I realized that I had not forwarded that paperwork to everybody, but I sent that paperwork out to you. That's kind of a cheat sheet of what Jill works up for our yearly transfers, and this was number 9 and number 14, $250,000 from inheritance, which was put in there to help our reserve in our budget. And then 55,000 from inheritance was put in to 100 also, and that is for purchase of Sheriff's Department vehicle. It's been done already. So we need to, and is that my resolution?
Yes,
So that we need to adopt a resolution to transfer those
I
monies.
did send everybody a resolution
Okay,
yesterday.
any questions?
Make a motion that we adopt a resolution to, make said transfers.
Thank
Did you
you.
state what transfers they were? Can't remember. Anyway,
Set the dollar amount.
perfect.
Second.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Rhodes,
Excuse me.
Sorry.
Yes.
Sykes,
Yes.
Ziegler,
Yes.
Bear,
Yes.
and Overman.
Yes. Okay, that is the funding transfers. Discuss and act on senior center agreement with Area on Aging. And we have,
We do.
good morning.
Good morning.
I gave it to Christie.
I'm Keith Jones with York Area Senior Center, and I need to renew the agreement we have with the county and Aging Services on the use of our facility. I dropped off some papers a couple days ago with the county clerk.
Any questions?
I was gonna say nothing is the same as what we've had in the past. It looked
No
like.
changes.
Yep. Only the last page, we might wanna change some names to
Yep.
that.
I noticed that too.
Okay.
Different attorney again.
Yep. Yeah, that name always sticks out to us just a little bit. Any questions this morning? Of what or why?
Just appreciate the opportunity that our seniors have through that center. Leadership, thank you.
Okay. Entertain a motion.
So moved.
Thank you.
Second?
Thank you. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Sykes,
Yes.
Rhodes,
Yes.
Bear,
Yes.
Ziegler,
Yes.
and Overman.
Yes. Thank you, sir. We'll
Thank
get
you.
these signed. Get the names corrected.
Jana is on her way.
She's on her
Probably
way.
won't be here till after the bid opening.
Okay, let's go ahead and discuss and act on grant application for the soccer complex. I see Bob has made it. And we have the privilege of Mayor Redfern being with us today too, so.
Not sure.
There you go. Morning, Bob.
Good morning. Bob Sauter, York County Visitors Bureau, and
Barry Redfern, City of York.
Mayor. We had a grant application brought forward to us from the City of York Parks and Rec with the improvements to the York Soccer Complex. So I think everybody should have a copy of the application there, with everything. Their request is for $30,000, which my board unanimously approved at our last meeting. So, if you have any questions, Barry would be glad to answer.
I don't see it here now, but I read someplace where you were trying to encourage York University to contribute to this.
They will. We'd actually talked to them. We will be kind of increasing some user fees to help pay for it, and then they're also making some contributions, along with the school. Will be using it in our park and rec, and then all the other soccer programs that are going on in the area in the county.
So they're gonna come through, so.
They are.
Thank you.
We kind of, I guess I'd just make one statement. When the Sports Authority decided that they were kind of going to disband, they came to us and we really couldn't see that we didn't need to have some kind of soccer facility. So we appreciate working with the Ag Society and the county on the ground, but the property is not in very good condition. So we're going to dedicate, instead of 12 fields, we're going to focus on 4 and try and put irrigation down on the 4 to make 4 really nice fields that can be used, and something that we can try and afford to keep nice. And so we're very hopeful that within a short period of time with proper irrigation that we can turn this into a facility that can once again host events and, for all of the different entities, maybe not to the level that it did when it started, when 80 teams came, and it used to be quite the thing, almost like what the ballpark complex is, but something that we can still be proud of, and that all the entities that use it can be proud of. So I think we can turn this into a good asset again for York and York County.
At one time when I first started, John Sozio and Orville and Rosemary Stair hosted the Puma soccer tournament every year, which brought in a lot of teams from across the state. It was a good moneymaker. It was a weekend-long tournament, so people had to stay in the lodging properties, most of them. And this could get back to that point where we do have tournaments that bring in out of town overnight stays once again. And the improvement funds are for improvements to existing facilities or attractions, which this would certainly qualify for. If you're wondering where we stand, someplace in here, we have paid out everything that we've granted with the exception of $45,000. So we're sitting pretty good right now. We have about close to $300,000 in the fund. So we would be able to afford their request very easily.
So the request is based on, looks like 2 things, beautification and signage. The signage replaces the front sign?
Yeah, that will
Or
all
just
get
it all goes?
removed. There'll be a new sign that will say York Soccer Complex. And then we're also gonna do some signage on the fields, because if anybody's ever been there, you never know where you're going.
And is there gonna be any to get to it then too?
Yeah, we'll
Like
also have.
on the highways or
Right.
something like
We'll
that?
also have some directional things that need to be replaced that are part of that.
Okay.
So we'll get all that stuff so people can find it.
And I know in one of your pictures here, and I might be wrong, but I think that our intent for that pile at the entrance is we're gonna use some of that, aren't we, the new area we're enclosing, so that pile should get gone, which should help with the visibility.
Absolutely.
Obviously,
Yeah, that'll
area too.
help the definite appeal when you pull in, I think, so.
And maybe some of it can get lost on that gravel road right there
As much
too.
as you want to get
Yeah.
lost on there, you just go ahead and lose it.
Yeah. We'll put the chunks out there.
Right, just feel free.
Jack, I know you sat in on the meeting. You got any comments from the meeting?
No, it just sounds like a good use of the property to clean it up and make it usable again. Cherie was going to be there, but she was busy and you stood in for her, did a good job presenting it. And Bob talked us all to make a vote, we did, and that was approved unanimously by the board.
Okay. Any other questions of Bob and or Barry?
I'm sure you discussed it, but there's a lot of football fields that are being converted to turf because they're gonna save money on mowing in the water and all that kind of stuff. Has that been part of the conversation for that complex?
We're currently under a project that we're going to do that for the baseball and football field at East Hillball Park. The cost of that's going to be 2.9 million. So at this particular moment, we're not discussing that, but what our long-range plan, or Cherie's long-range plan, which Cherie's very energetic and has great long-range plans, and so, but would be to possibly look at having one of those fields at some point down the line can be looked at. And as Bob pointed out, another thing that we're talking about was some of the money that we may get donated to this from the university being one or different things over time would possibly be to at least light one of the fields, if not two, and get some lighting up there because that would be a real enhancement, to the complex also. But we're kind of starting small. We've got about capital expenditures. Without this, we're going to be spending about 150,000, and then our transfer over to kind of fertilizer, seed, maintenance, everything we do is about another 92. So we've got an upfront investment of about $250,000 just to try and get this thing going.
Thank you.
Anybody else? What's your pleasure?
I make a motion that we approve the request from the city of York.
Thank you, Jack.
Well, I'll second that.
Thank you. Any other discussion?
What fund does this come from? Are we taking ARPA money? We taking
No,
inheritance?
this is-
Just
this is-
general York development money?
Yeah,
Right,
they have two piles. They have improvement,
right.
and that's what this will come out of, or promotion. And that's all the lodging tax that we take in. So this would come out of the improvement side of that.
Thank you for clarifying.
Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Sykes,
Yes.
Ziegler,
Yes.
Bear,
Yes.
Rhodes,
Yes.
and Edwards.
Yes, thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you very
Have a
much.
great day. We got 5 minutes. Discuss and act on interlocal agreement for York and Polk County. Tristan?
Morning, Commissioners. Tristan Perry, York County Diversion Coordinator. So I emailed this out to you guys, I think maybe last Thursday or something, and just a one page that Chris and I received from the Crime Commission as a general sense that they've used in the past, and then Chris kind of looked over it and gave it our spin on making sure it was defined properly to us, and then now it's just on the stage of getting approved and signed by you guys, and then I'll hop over and kind of give Polk County the interlocal and see if they'll sign it and write off on it. And then from there, it kind of just goes to the Crime Commission, letting them know that they can be comfortable that no one's gonna fight over funds or anything for that fiscal year that will be applying for Polk County money. So, yeah.
So this is just applying for the funds that is in the next budget year, not
Yep.
the current budget year.
Fiscal year of 25.
Okay.
Yep, so July 1st to June 30th, and then renew every time that we'll apply for it.
Okay.
So,
Services has Polk, they haven't looked at this yet, or they have?
not just yet, not the interlocal, but they've had one in the past with Merritt County that mirrors what they have with this one. So pretty much the same. After speaking with them previously, they seem on board with jumping over and having our services instead of Merritt County giving them.
Okay, but the services will start not this year or next year?
July 1st is when we would start.
Next year?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, so,
24, not 25.
Correct. Yeah.
okay. So they will continue to work with Merritt County throughout this budget year.
Correct. Yeah.
Any other questions, Tristan?
I was just curious, in here, I don't know which number it was, number 9, the match funds. So those match funds would come from which county, if there is a requirement for match funds for that grant?
Right, so it'd come from both depending on the allotment that we get for that year. So York County usually sits around 34,000, and then Polk County is 27, I think. And so from our full, that's what the crime commission would look at, but it comes from either side, yeah.
Right. So if there's a match required for the monies that would be dedicated to Polk County would be putting that match.
Yeah, yeah, they would put forward a match and go to the juvenile diversion.
Right.
Yep.
And how would that work? They would that be in a juvenile diversion fund in Polk County, or would they have to interlocal that to York County's juvenile diversion fund?
That is a great question. I don't know the answer to that right now, but I'll work with Chris to see exactly how that would get to where it needs to be. Yeah.
Sure, yeah, because we'd need to, if wherever those funds were, if we're the provider, we'd want to have access to those funds.
Exactly.
And based on your knowledge of the current situation in Polk County, you feel that your staff can handle the workload of taking another county on?
Yeah, I believe so. And like Chris has kind of stated in the past, they don't have a ton of juvenile filings every year, and so with Brandon and I, we would still be able to cover all the cases that would come our way for sure. So.
And this would be, is this agreement that we are looking at approving today, there'd just be a year-to-year agreement, basically?
Yeah, basically, unless you guys wanted to change it to 5 years, or whatever, but right now it's set for 1 year renewal.
Okay. I think, if we can help them out and get the funds to be able to help them out, I think that's all fine. I do think that if there comes a time where it looks like the workload is bigger than what we can do, and I want to make sure that we're focusing on York County as our primary. And so this would be, if there ever came a time where, hey, we need to do something, this is one place that, for me, I'm going to look at, okay, maybe we need to part ways with Polk. That's going to be the first thing that I'm going to look at.
Right.
Not saying that that's going to happen, but should that be presented, just so that that's kind of where my brain's at.
Gotcha. Yeah, and I'll keep you guys updated on all the happenings when we're getting numbers from them and how much and
Sure.
what it's doing. So definitely keep you guys informed on that so.
Any other comments? Most typically in any other interlocal agreement, there is a way for both counties to, in writing, get out of the agreement.
Right.
And, I mean, I didn't necessarily, unless I missed it, this is a memorandum of understanding. But I think that would be, something, I don't know if we feel comfortable with the whole year or, a lot of times
I
it's
see what you're
30,
saying.
60, 90,
Right.
something like that in writing to reverse action. Whereas when you tie into a year, you tie into a year. And then if you get into a pinch, how do you deal with it?
Right.
Unless on the outside. So I would like to see something like that in there if we could, come up with something like that.
Sure. Yep.
The grant, I know that you're busy writing grants now. When are those grants due, Tristan?
December 20th from what I remember, and so that will be Polk and York at the same time.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Any other questions? Comments? Is this something that we want to see? You had a question,
Right.
and if we want to see that, then we could table and get that information and deal with it, because we'd have time prior to. I mean, you can continue to fill the grant out
Right.
and do it at our next meeting, because it's the 14th, no, 12th, I believe we need.
Yep.
So,
Yes.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. If we want to put in there some way that should the opportunity be needed to part ways, that it's in there, an ability to do that.
The dilemma I face is, okay, we're gonna add another county, and it might be 5 kids or 10 kids. Are we overstaffed here, or are we understaffed? I mean, how are we balancing this staffing to say, okay, we're gonna add another county with current staffing? Are we not utilizing you and Brendan as well as it should be, or what, how's this all fit together?
Right. With, grabbing Polk County, it is gonna be a small number, like you said, it's probably only gonna be 5, 10 at max. And with my kind of future goals, it would be nice to kind of look if we can move stuff around to grab another officer that would help us on the diversion lines. But as of right now, I mean, Brennan and I are definitely busy all year round, and adding the 5 to 10 is still within our range. And so maybe giving us more on our plate, but with the system that we've been able to develop in this year and a half, it's still gonna be pretty concise and to the point to serve all the youth that come across from each county, so.
So then what is the impact of this towards the proposal that you brought to us before about adult diversion? Or is that all?
There's really no impact. Really, the only impact is grant and sticking with the juvenile side of things. I don't believe Polk has done any adult diversion before or has the need. So as of right now, it hasn't really come up as a topic or seen any effect that would come out of adult diversion here, so.
okay, we do have a 9 o'clock for bid opening. Or we have any more questions? We call Tristan back, or do we want to postpone until December 12th?
I make a motion, we postpone.
Second.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Brooks,
Yes.
Sykes.
Yes.
Ziegler,
Yes.
Bear,
Yes.
and Oakland.
Yes, and then you'll get that information and get it out again.
Yep,
Thank you.
definitely. Thank you, guys.
Okay. Okay, it is it's actually about 9:05. Discuss an act on opening bids for a bid project on Road 22 and Road 18. This was publicized in the News Times, the 10th, the 17th, and the 24th of November. So looks like we have 3.
Yes.
Okay, first one up is Norfolk Contracting, Inc. There's bid bond attached. Harvey, as I'm looking through this, did we ask them to break it out? I know there's 3 separate bridges in on this.
Should be bigger.
Okay, Gresham, looks like Gresham Southwest, Gresham South, and Thayer Southeast. So we have a combined total price of $603,423. The Gresham Southwest was $215,865. 215,865. The Gresham South is $202,898. 202,898. And the Thayer Southeast is $184,660. 184,660. For a grand total, once again, of $603,423.
They put anything for additional abutment? They may not have.
Additional abutment will be required, finished and driven for $45 a linear foot. If less abutment piling is required, deduct $32 linear foot. Contractor's tentative start date is March 18th, 2024.
Randy, I wasn't writing fast enough. What was
Sorry.
your first number on the Southwest?
215,865.
Thank you.
I assume they're out of Norfolk.
I assume so.
I assume.
Yep, you're right.
Thanks.
Midwest Infrastructure out of Lincoln.
There is a bid bond attached to this one also. Okay, we'll start out with a combined overall price, $618,599.39. 618,599.39. We'll go back to the Gresham Southwest, $222,064.55. 222,064.55. Gresham South is $196,641.73. 196,641.73. Thayer Southeast is $199,893.11. 199,893.11. The additional abutment piling is $50 a linear foot, and if less abutment piling is required, deduct 32 per linear foot. Contractor has tentative start date of April 1, 2024. Midwest Infrastructure. Everybody got the numbers?
JJK out of Sresco.
Bid bond is attached. JJK Construction, okay. Combined total price is $888,382.51. 888,382.51. Southwest, Gresham Southwest is $318,035.67. 318,035.67. Gresham South is $272,047.13. 272,047.13. Thayer Southeast is $298,299.71. 298,299.71. once again for a grand total of $888,382.51. The additional piling is 55.27 per linear foot, and if less is required is 32 per linear foot, and the tentative start date is January 8th of 2024. Do some looking.
Yes, please.
Okay, well, Harvey looks at
Thank you.
that. Thank you. Okay. We do have Senator Hughes with us here today. We've just got some other house cleaning things, so I think at this time, Senator Hughes, if you'd like to step forward and name, please, and address for the record.
Jana Hughes, 1825 Deer Run Drive, Seward, Nebraska.
Thank you. Welcome.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Anything fabulous you want to tell us about before maybe there's some questions for you?
I might be dreading January 3rd. It's coming really quickly. No, this has been good. Interim's been good. I just know pertaining to commissioners and districts and stuff, just things that I'm watching is our Governor Pillen has a task force on appraisal, looking into appraisals and things for property tax. And so I know I talked with, oh my gosh, I'm just, your assessor.
Kirk.
Kirk Waldron, is he even here? Sorry, Kirk, if he's here. I do know his name. Just dealing with that and what they're looking at, I'm kind of curious to see what that task force is gonna come out with, because I think it could be possible legislation change or not, but I haven't heard word on what they've come up with as of yet. Today, there's an interim hearing that I'm going back to in Lincoln at 1 o'clock on the Nebraska plan again, which is how it would tweak some things in Tioza, potentially bring down the farm ground. Right now it's at 75% in Tioza, bring it down to like 50, and I think that could help with some of the issues that people have, but we'll see how that goes. I'm sure you guys are very aware of like the talk about getting rid of the inheritance tax. And I think that on average would leave an 80 million shortfall across the state. So if that goes into play, where does those funds come from if that does go away? So another thing to watch. And one thing, I was just at a meeting last night at the Civic Center in Seward. So Seward County invited the state out, and they did just a forum of information for communities, villages, et cetera, on fund availability for wastewater issues and clean drinking water. And so they just kind of did a whole segment until they had representatives from like Goner and Staplehurst were all there. So as a potential, I don't know, that might be a good thing for York and the surrounding little towns if you guys wanted to host it. It was took not quite an hour and a half, but they just go through all the kind of what you have to do and the grants available federally and statewide for communities, because that's just, the infrastructure for water is such a big issue. I mean, everything's aging, right? And so what funds communities, villages, et cetera, can access to help with that. So that, just throwing it out there, might be something interesting for York County, and maybe York and Polk could go together or something. So I don't know. That was top of mind because I went to that last night. So do you guys have any questions? I don't know. Is there something else we wanted to discuss or?
Very good. Yeah, I think my motivation for reaching out was just to get you in front of us again and get an update like you've done here, and then give a time for anybody that has
I would love to hear what you
so.
guys are kind of looking at and concerns top of mind for you all, because and hopefully you know I like to be very accessible. We actually do read all the emails. A lot of you guys have my phone as well, text, but we really work hard at getting back and back to you. And I really like the interim because I've been back in the district, and that's that's the best part, so.
Well, I know that obviously we need to work hand in hand with the state. We get our money out of two separate buckets. And, but, you know, there's a lot of times that our bucket gets stressed because there are certain things that the senators ask us to do or, you know, tell us to do that we have to.
We
And
call those unfunded mandates.
that's what we do.
Yeah, I know.
And so then when we hear others, you know, and I know, I haven't heard you say it, but other senators say, well, the property taxes are your deal, you handle them. Well, they are our deal, but there's also other things that get handed down to us. And, you know, one of those things is what was known as LB 677 or now is the postcard bill. For the
I call it the pink postcard party.
yeah, the transparency. But you know, there's things that we have no control over that affect us week in and week out, and we have no way of knowing how to budget that. I would think that hopefully it runs its course, you know, and they realize, and maybe something better to look at would be, because ours turned into more of an educational thing than
There's a
just
lot of
it.
people got that and came in upset about their appraisals, not necessarily, like, there is a lot of confusion on that. I know, I'm glad you brought this up. I think they're talking about maybe tweaking that a little bit, the pink postcard issue, like maybe even getting it out earlier with more information. I personally, and this is what I was talking with Kurt Volgren about, I would like to see, so is it about June timeframe, you get your letter with if valuations have changed for you? Like, send that to, even if it didn't change, send it to everybody and have on there every entity that taxes their actual budget meeting. So like York Public Schools is gonna have their budget meeting on July, whatever day it is at this time. The commissioners will have theirs at, you know, whatever time. The city will have theirs at blah, 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 at whatever time. I think it'd be more informative for the public to be able to come, and I know they can come, I know it's open meetings, I know it's out there, but there's a lack of maybe education or knowledge. But if the public could come to those actual budget meetings, I feel like that is more informative to them than when you come to the pink postcard, because that's not when you're discussing, the school or the different entities aren't discussing the actual budget and why they came up with the levy they came up with. But if the folks could be at the actual budget meeting, I think that would be better for everybody, more informational. But anyway, so there's some talk of some of the timing of those things too that might be better. But yeah, I agree, it's definitely.
Yeah, because we're spending, I think this last year we spent 5,000 roughly
Well, I think
to
they
send all
say,
these out,
as
you
a
know,
state, it's almost $500,000, and I'm
by the
like,
time it's all said.
and
and
guess where that came from? Property tax.
You're right.
Everybody had to pay for their own, and that came from the property tax.
Yeah, it's tough, you know, because it has no teeth to it either. I mean, there's nothing.
It doesn't, it's a postcard that gets mailed with information.
And like say ours turned in more to a Q&A that was pretty, I think, for the most part, was pretty informative. That was after we did the 7 steps or whatever, how many
Right.
steps we were supposed to do. But yeah, I think it's, you know, sometimes we get lost in the fact that the senators are here and the commissioners are here, but we really need to work together at this. Even though we pull from 2 separate piles, and I joked during that meeting is, you guys want to switch? You know, we'll take sales tax and you guys can have property and then
Yeah.
we'll see what we can get done here and then
Right.
you can deal with the property side of things.
Well, and I'm glad, I heard York was pretty informational, Seward's got pretty volatile,
It
from what I
did.
heard. I wasn't able to attend, and I cannot remember why, but some people in the crowd got it just got a little ugly, and that's not helpful to anybody. It's not beneficial to anyone, so. So when we were talking, then I remember reading in the York paper, one more thing, you guys are having some issue, I think, with, inmate costs. That was just.
Everybody is.
Yeah, and so, gosh, I don't know if there was a bill proposed or something, but, where, I mean, maybe to help with property tax offset, like if the state picked up that piece of it or something, I don't know, just some talk of that, but you're right, it's everywhere. It's happening.
Well, when we're sitting here, you know, on an interstate system, and it doesn't matter who stops them, they come to our jail.
They come to your facility.
Yes,
Yeah.
and if they're hauling drugs or paraphernalia, we have them, and we didn't have to make the stop or anything, but now we're in charge of them, and we have to pay everything.
Yep.
And yeah, it would be nice if there was some kind of funding set
Like
up.
just a better balance. Well, and then does that encourage, well, now we're not gonna stop anybody because we don't wanna pay for it?
Right.
Well, that's not right either. That's not good for the state, or the United States for that matter, so, yeah.
The other thing that I know I brought up a couple times, has been helping us out somehow, public defending, you know, when we appoint outside counsel and we work on a year-to-year budget, and then sometimes these cases drag on, if there's any way that we can clean that up, you know, that we get these bills in more
Oh, you said that, you
regular.
get bills, like it'll be a year and a half,
It
and then
can
all
be
of a
up
sudden
to-
you get hit, and it's just such a big jump. I remember you did mention that.
Yeah, and I don't know if anything can be done legislative, that they have to, you know, be more timely with their
Submit
billing or
every-
something like that, but yeah, we get hit, yeah, and there is no time frame on it. And they can go, you know, 2 years out, and then all of a sudden we get 50-some thousand dollars. Now,
Yeah,
doesn't
for
seem very-
Omaha, that wouldn't probably be a big deal, but for here, that's a big.
it's huge.
Right.
It blows our
Sure.
budgets apart, so. I don't know, guys, did you have anything else for her this morning? It's nice to see you here, that's for sure.
Happy to do it. I would way much rather drive west than east. Is that bad?
You did sign your name up though, right?
I did.
We do appreciate your availability. I mean, it's nice to see somebody that's representing us present. So you don't have to come to a meeting like this. I don't feel badly to send you an email because I feel like I know you.
Yeah.
Or to just call you and say, hey, this is bugging me. You know, whether
You know,
it's
that's.
epic option or inheritance tax or this, the problems with the costs of the attorneys being late, you know, and then the prisoner costs. And when we arrest somebody, all of a sudden we're paying for a dental bill and we come in to pay for a $1,200 crown or $1,500. I mean, but it's there and we end up picking up all those
So
costs.
I need a crown coming up. Maybe,
Just get arrested with that.
maybe I need to go 100 miles an hour, right? But on the internet, I'll just keep going back and forth in York County.
You might not wanna try 100 miles an hour.
Just kidding.
But I appreciate it.
No, thank you, Woody. Well, yeah, and just keep that in mind. I really do want to be available, and I am here to represent our district. That's why I ran. You know, my family's been here a very long time, my husband's family a very long time. And it is a great place to have a family and raise kids, and I want that to continue on. And so that is truly, truly why I'm here. So whatever I can do to help, I will be happy to do that.
Just a couple quick questions. One being.
And I'm making notes on this, so don't think I'm like checking, you know, Facebook or something, but I'm making notes on I'm gonna double check some of that public defender stuff. Anyway.
One thing that's been ongoing that I think a number of York area residents have seen dangled out there, maybe if you will, the expansion of 81 north out of.
Which we're next, you know, and when everybody's like, well, what does next mean? I'm like, you know, few
Right.
years.
Yeah,
Yes,
right.
we are next.
There you go.
Okay,
So I just
what about
wanted, if that was, if there had been any discussions on finding funding for pushing that forward or
Right,
anything.
no, I mean, I think the funding is there, they're gonna break it, now you're stretching my memory. It's gonna be 5 or 6 segments,
Mhm.
you know,
Sure.
that they break it apart in. And I believe the environmental, you know, there's all these little things they
Yeah.
have to do to get it, but the
Mhm.
environmental impact studies, I think have been done.
Sure.
But, I'm hoping to start seeing some stuff, you know, within, like, in 2024.
Okay,
So,
cool.
I know I've had some concern with, this isn't York County, but with Stromsburg, when it goes through town, that road is rough
Sure.
right there, and they haven't been upkeeping it because they know they're coming to work on it, but there's
right.
some frustration there as well. So, the DOT is like one of those things that's just, but it's on there. It's
Sure,
like
yep.
we're up next. how long have we been waiting for this?
Yeah.
1990, I think, something like that. So, yeah.
And then the only other thing that I was gonna ask, do you have any priorities? Do you have anything that you're working on to present in the new
Good question.
legislation
Right.
session?
I'm a little, well, one, I just don't know what to expect this next session.
Sure.
It'll be a repeat of
You had a fun
last
one, your
year.
first one?
I'm going in with very low expectations, hoping that, it'll be better. But, I would say I have two kind of priorities or two things that I am interested in, and they don't really relate, necessarily to you guys as
Sure.
much, but, I am looking, well, I've got a bill to, for, if anybody pays attention to kids vaping or the vape thing, I was at a conference, my mom sent me this picture of a vape pen that looked just like a yellow highlighter. It's called, what are those called? They're called, anyway. And I am like, no adult wants to smoke a highlighter. This is clearly for kids, right? To be able to hide in school or whatever. And so I have a bill drafted that would only allow in the state of Nebraska vape devices that are FDA approved to be sold, which there are only like 23 devices that are actually FDA approved. There's hundreds on this list to get approved eventually. And weirdly, FDA lets them be sold before they're
Before
really
approval.
approved. So that's why we're seeing all
Sure.
these things that they look like toys essentially that are actually vape devices. So I'm working on that. I'm actually working with our Attorney General Hilgers on something like that. And then, and so just to preface, we got a vape tax for the first time last session, which and it's, why should vape not be taxed just like a cigarette or something like that, a nicotine device? So I did that last time. I guess I'm the vape person, I don't know. And then the second thing, so I did a recycling study, and this kind of falls under recycling. We went to the landfill, 2 months ago, I guess? We was there. But that's another thing. All those vape cartridges get thrown into landfills, and there is talk that they can combust, they can start fires, and there's been fires in landfills. They just can't 100% prove it to these vape cartridges, like the disposable ones that are thrown away. So that's also an issue, but not what I'm dealing with this year. So I went to, and it was a York constituent that sent me this email, and I got to track down who it was, but in Iowa, it's called SafeNet RX, and it is a facility that takes unused prescription drugs and just make sure they haven't been opened mostly like from nursing homes, VA hospitals, and prisons. So a lot of them, they're in blister packs, things like that, but they're not open. Well, in Nebraska, you can turn those back in, but what happens to them? They're destroyed. They're incinerated or thrown away or whatever, but they're perfectly fine prescription drugs. So this facility in Iowa takes them in. It has to be they have to be at least 6 months till expiration. And then they categorize them, and store them. And then pharmacies can go online and get these prescription drugs for either uninsured or underinsured people. And then, in a way, to me, it's like recycling. You're not throwing them away. And why should we throw it? And it's this facility in Iowa, we toured it in Des Moines. It's right outside Des Moines. $20 million worth of inventory, drug inventory, that potentially would have been destroyed, can get back out to underinsured, uninsured people. So, it was like February, somebody sent me an email it was York for sure. And she had said, hey, there's this place in Iowa, you should check it out. And so we're like, okay, we'll wait till interim. So we went out and checked it out, and I thought, well, maybe Nebraska can do something like this. Well, Iowa's looking at other states to partner with, just so that you've got more inventory coming in and more options to go back out. And way better than reinventing, having a distribution center here and whatever. So we're looking at, and I don't know if it's a legislative issue. There might be a couple little tweaks in our laws, But otherwise, I would really like Nebraska to jump on board with that. We already have a strong drug take-back program at our pharmacies where the pharmacies will have a box and they put it in there and then they get destroyed. Well, let's have two boxes, one of the stuff that probably needs to be destroyed and one of a box that gets shipped to Iowa and then can be reused. So those are kind of the vape and that are my two kind of passionate ones, I guess, at the moment, so. But I'm willing to, there's, people are always like, oh, look at this and look at, maybe there's something with this, the public defender thing or billing. I'm definitely willing to look into that. And if we can get things done non-legislatively, I really try to pursue that. And that's where I'm hoping with this SafeNet RX, we can kind of do some things that it doesn't have to necessarily be legislation. So that's always easier.
Great.
Yeah. Anyway. Other questions?
Is there anything being done about taxing electric cars for road tax?
There is a bill out, because right now electric cars just get, you pay a higher registration fee up front. But to me that doesn't seem, because you might drive, 30,000 miles a year. I drive 10,000 miles a year. Why should we pay just this one flat registration fee, but you're using the road a lot more than I, right? That's why we have it on gas, gallons per gas. So there's a bill out that would, if they put electric chargers like at a gas station or whatever, that could charge by the kilowatt hour or kilowatt that you use, or not wattage that you use. And or some states are doing like at the end of like a mileage thing, like you can report your mileage and that's what you get taxed on. But yeah, we're gonna have to look at something because everything's going to, the push is there, right, toward electric vehicles. Well, how are we going to pay for our roads if we're not, if we don't have the gas tax anymore, if gas comes down? So there is things being looked at for that. Yes.
Anything else?
I feel like Jack, are you the new guy? You two are the newbies, right? Fairly new? Who's new?
No.
No? Woody and
Stan.
Woody and Stan are the newbies. Okay. Sorry, Jack.
Yeah, I've been here a couple times.
You've been here a long, you're like, I'm an Alzheimer, whatever. Very good.
Anything else for Senator Hughes?
I'm very interested in the paper ballot concept, and right now looking at some of the statute and how that's written.
Don't we use paper ballots here?
Well, paper ballots and hand counting,
Oh, okay.
and not using machines and getting it pushed that way. So as an individual, not necessarily as a board, and the way the summary's written from our past Attorney General, doesn't sound like that's allowed. So
The
to do a
hand counting.
and that's certainly not the way the Secretary of State wants to go with it. So, but I'm interested in seeing permission given to do hand counting.
If a county chooses to do that, you mean? Because they do hand count if there's a question, right? If it's within a certain percentage or whatever.
So anyway, I'd really like that clarified so that should York County say, well, we're gonna do a hand ballot and a paper ballot and a hand count, that the authority is there to be able to do that.
Okay.
Right now, the interpretation isn't necessarily.
It's not that way.
But I know we're also having conversations with Attorney General Gilchrist to clarify that again.
Okay.
And again, that's a personal thing, it isn't necessarily a board thing.
What else?
I don't see anybody's hands going up. Senator Hughes, I thank you for your time today,
Yeah, thanks for
for
having me.
coming in,
Please
and appreciate.
reach out whenever, and if I can make it, I will definitely
Perfect.
try to.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, like I say, it's easy to reach out via email. I know that I did on something and you responded back within a day or so, which was great. So I think
Well,
that's a
and I
great way
guess,
to.
yeah, do you guys have anything for me that you would like to see? I mean, I try to, clearly, if you read the paper, I do try to do an article, if not weekly, every 2 weeks or so, in the paper. I also have an email we email out that same article if anybody wants to jump on you might be on it, Dan, I don't know, on the email group. Woody is, I think. I don't sell nobody wants to buy your list of emails anyway, so. But yeah, do you have any suggestions for me on what? I'm almost a year in. I don't think I can call myself a freshman senator anymore, so. I can't play I don't know, I've never done this before.
Other than what I brought up right now, I don't have anything else, but
Okay.
if I do,
I'll keep you posted. if they
Absolutely.
come up. And yeah, and let me know if there's events, clearly outside of this that you think it would be worthwhile to attend or whatever. I'd be happy to do it if I can, so.
well, I know our NACO annual conference is coming up, and I think there was reaching out to the senators.
They are, but that conference is the same 2 days as our legislative council, where all 49 senators get back together, right? Isn't it like December 7th and 8th?
13, 14,
Or-
13, 14, 15.
There was some. Oh, maybe it's not. Are you out in Kearney?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that was the problem. I did get that email, so. I do talk with John Hannon a lot. That's what it was. I can't make it, but him and I are gonna sit down after it and
Okay.
just go over whatever, so.
Okay.
But yes, please keep me posted. And the York Sippin Stroll is my favorite, so I will not miss that, but that's.
Well, that's a few months away.
I know, that was just a month ago, so 2 months ago, whatever, so anyway.
Okay.
Okay, very good.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Very good, thanks.
Thanks for having me.
You bet. Thank you. Harv, you come up with some stuff?
Yes, I did. My recommendation would be to go with Norfolk Contracting for the 603,423 for all three bridges.
Okay.
Which one was that?
Norfolk.
Contracting.
And it was for $603,423. And this would be money that we'd be using the ARPA funds for. I believe the three bridges that were selected here were selected because they were in pretty good locale. We thought we could get some competitive bidding on them. A couple of them are smaller bridges that were giving us grief over the years with the size of equipment and everything growing. And it's just keeping our infrastructure up.
Exactly.
Which is a great thing to do, seeing as how that ARPA money is there. Any questions for Harv on that? It's your pleasure.
Motion we adopt Norfolk Contracting for building three bridges.
Okay,
Second?
thank you. Lots of seconds. You pick one. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Fair.
Yes.
Brooke.
Yes.
Sykes.
Yes.
Ziegler.
Yes.
And Oakley.
Yes, thank you, Harv.
Thank you.
Now, let's get it done.
Okay. Go through all my scribblings here. Yeah, we got a couple, just house cleaning, discuss an act on designating county newspaper and county website for publication purposes for 2024. It's always been the York News Times. Seems how they are the only county. I know that there are some counties that are struggling with this because they're losing their local newspaper. So we are fortunate enough to have one yet. So we need a motion to accept those as designated for the York County.
So York News Times and York County website.
Yes.
So move.
Second.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Brooks.
Yes.
Bear.
Yes.
Ziegler.
Yes.
Sykes.
Yes.
Yes. And then discuss and act on adopting resolution naming county depositories for 2024. And the list, I assume, I have right here in front of me is Cornerstone Bank, Henderson State Bank, Midwest Bank, Nebraska Public Agency Investment Trust.
It's like you.
Yes. And York State Bank.
That's a resolution.
Make a motion that we adopt a resolution approving the, or naming county depositories, as were read.
Thank you, Daniel.
Second?
Thank you. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Brooks.
Yes.
Sykes.
Yes.
Ziegler.
Yes.
Bear.
Yes.
And Alderman.
Yes. Okay, at this time, we just have the one remaining thing left, and then the executive session. And I think I would like to go into executive session at this time, at 9:41 a.m. And this will involve an employee, so to prevent needless injury or harm to a specific employee and discuss. And so, and also joining the commissioners in this will be county attorney and juvenile diversion and a member of the correction staff. And is Josh coming back?
I think he's coming back.
Josh is coming back. Chris is here also, if you're taking all these down. And Amanda.
Amanda will be down.
Amanda will be down also from county attorney's office. So,
Make that motion.
thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Brooks.
Yes.
Bear.
Yes.
Ziegler.
Yes.
Sykes.
Yes.
Yes. Once again, we'll have one